week 5, we're going to have e-learning on ethical decisions making process. You will watch a video on how the doctors having a dilemma situation where he is caught in a situation to save or not to save.
Bad?
Traffic violation. What's wrong with you, kid?
I need a new liver and a new intestine.
Yeah? You want mine?
I can't have that nice man's organs. He offered.
You know how in school, the rules you have to follow? The same goes for here. We have to follow the rules or else we get in big trouble. And what that man offered you was definitely against the rules.
No. She's fighting with the insurance people again.
You're not supposed to worry about stuff like that.
Tell her something good today. Even if nothing good happens. She needs good news.
I've got a body full of high-quality parts here. 3-day liquidation sale. Everything must go.
Even if we could do it, you have to be a match for him. Which means we'd have to cross-match your blood with his.
Good thing we're both in a hospital, then.
The boy who needs organs, I presume, wants to live. And me, I have organs. I'm ready to die.
Removed a piece of your skull. Which means your brain is now only covered by dura mater. It's virtually exposed. If somehow that area were to be damaged, it would cause intracranial bleeding, which would cause your brain to swell worse than it did today, which would result in brain death. So as your doctor, I need you to be very careful not to damage it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
All right, try adjusting the height of the drip chamber and let's raise this bed up another 10 degrees.
What'll that do?
Not much.
Jackson, you listen to Mommy. It is not time. You do not get to go yet. You have to stay here with me. You hear me? You stay with Mommy. It is not time, baby. I love you. And I need you to fight. I need you to fight, Jackson. Come on. Come on. You fight to stay.
Dr. Shepard?
Dr. Bailey?
I need you to stop. I need you to put down the scalpel. This man is trying to kill himself, and God forgive me, I need you to...
You need to leave my OR, Dr. Bailey.
5 days. In 5 days, this man is going to die, and his organs are going to go with him. They'll be buried with his body, and they'll rot in the ground, and that is a crime. It's a crime against life. It's only 5 days. That's it. That's all we're taking from him, and he doesn't want them anyway.
You took an oath, Miranda.
No, that I know. We took an oath, but right now that oath makes no sense. It makes no sense. It doesn't. So just stop. Just stop. Don't do anything else for this man.
If I stop this surgery, it's the same as me sticking this scalpel into his brain. Is that what you want?
Yes, that's what I want.
It's a long shot. Just go. Whatever Bailey's doing, I hope to hell she's having better luck than we are.
He's hemorrhaging through his craniectomy. Should I at least put in a subdural drain?
That's up to Dr. Bailey.
Dr. Bailey? Dr. Bailey should have put in a drain?
No.
There's a lot of bleeding. We should really do something soon.
I am aware of that, Dr. Yang.
Sir, really soon.
It's your call, Dr. Bailey. It's up to you. Am I an executioner? Or am I a surgeon? It's up to you. It's your call.
Pick up the scalpel.
No ethical question should be addressed alone. It should be a collaborative team, including the doctor, nurses, and other healthcare professionals to come to work together on ethical dilemma situation. Now, what is the difference between problems, dilemma, and ethics of care? A problem has a potential solution, and the problem is very specific, so the solution will able to help to resolve the issue. For example, now how about a dilemma? A dilemma can have several solutions, and we need to evaluate the solution in order to choose the appropriate solutions for the ethical dilemma. For example, you can take a look at the case study. An ethical dilemma normally have an ethical and a moral component. It is always making a choice between two or more solutions. So therefore, as healthcare professional, when we are making a decision for ethical dilemma, we need to study the dilemma, and we need to understand what are the ethical principles involved and how can we come up with a solution by gathering more data or doing research, and therefore we can come up with many solutions. And with all these solutions, we need to evaluate the solution so that we can decide which solution should we adopt or implement in order to help us to resolve the dilemma issue that we're facing. For example, our neighbor who is 44 years old, she came to us and asked about abortion, and she know that you're studying in nursing. Her husband was recently retrenched, and they have 4 young children to take care. So what should you do? And all this scenario on abortion and euthanasia are always an ethics of care because it involves about life, how the life started and how it ends. And is there a quality of life, especially when the patient's relative ask you to help them to go for euthanasia for the patient? Is it because there's no more quality of life for the patient because the patient now is unconscious and is maintained by the resuscitation? And it's always about the value of life. Here are the ethical decisions making process, which we'll talk about that later. So let's dig into this case where to abort the child or not to abort the child with the neighbor that come to you. So as student nurses or healthcare professional, we should get some data first on abortion. In fact, if we look through the data in the 2006 to 2009, there is an increased incidence of abortion. So therefore, this is really an ethical dilemma. And there are suggestions by the forum to say about how the government can help to reduce abortion. So the ethical dilemma for this case can be the people who suggest for abortion will say that who do not agree for abortion will say that it's killing life. But those who say yes, abortion is a right of the women, of the mother, or maybe the women have some personal or social or emotional factors attached. So therefore, if they make a decision, we should respect their decision. Let's gather some data first before we come up with the solution. And the data as of below in the slide. And the data is also supported by increased number of termination from the Ministry of Health website, as you can see from the statistic. And also there is data to show that there's also the number of people that would keep the baby after the counseling. Please also read the Terminations of Pregnancy Act. In these guidelines, which is newly initiated in 2015, now for women who would like to terminate the baby, they need to go for a counseling, and the counseling is made as compulsory, and the chances of abortions after they watch the video or they go for the counseling has tremendously been reduced. So let's study the ethical principle for to go for abortion or not to go for abortion. Autonomy, we respect the mother's decision because the mother do have information after the counseling whether to go for abortion or not. So if the mother is going for the abortion, it should bring benefits to herself, to her family, and to unborn child. Maybe the mother is unable to keep the baby due to perhaps she has 4 other young children at home. So therefore, she has to go for the abortion as is a 5th child. And we also need to ask this question about justice. By aborting the child, is she doing justice? Perhaps she is doing justice because she had 4 children and because she's 44 years old. And the doctor did advise her that the 5th child, which is the fetus inside her body, can have a higher chances of developing, um, for example, mental retardation because she's 44 years old. And non-maleficent, does that apply in this scenario? The mother is making her decision based on the best interest for the child. Could be because currently she's taking care of 4 young children. And by having the 5th child coming along, and if this 5th child is have a high chances of developing a mental retardation, she may not be able to have the ability and also the capacity to bring up the child. So considering all the choices that's available, the mother may have made this choice to go for abortion. So we should respect her decision. And as for nurses, we will encourage her to go for the counseling and before she made the decision. So we do not hide any facts or any data from her. So some suggestion by the ministry can be to ban the abortion, raise awareness, and so on, as you can see from the slide here. Number 4 and number 3 are good suggestion because these 3 and 4 actually help the patients to have a better understanding of abortion and how life are more precious. And these are more of the suggestion. And nurses, we are always concerned about preserving, enhancing human life and not to destroy. So what suggestion should we then adopt or should? So as nurses, our evaluation of the solution will be we make it compulsory for all female to go to watch a video on abortion and to start a counseling clinic in hospital so that they can understand the whole procedure. So let's come before we move forward, we can have another uh, exercise on how to do ethical decision making on dilemma situation. So let's take a look at this case study. All right. So what are the ethical decisions making process? So first of all, we need to identify the ethical dilemma, and is that the patient is not compliant to the physiotherapy due to the pain that she has when she has to walk, and she has to do it every day. So by doing that every day, it will help her to gain her mobility, but it's painful. How about gathering data? So we can say that post-op for an artificial replacement. But however, the patient is not compliant to the physiotherapist. How about the dilemma for ethical principle? Well, we need to let the patient exert her autonomy. So if she do not want to do physio, we should respect her decision. But is it doing her good? Because she will not be able uh, to gain much if she do not comply to physiotherapy session. And we are respecting the patient's decision if she says she do not want to go for physio. But is it doing her right? And definitely for this case, by obliging to patient's request not to do physio, it benefits the patient. But once a while, once again, is it helping the patient for long term? If she do not want to walk and follow the physiotherapist. Now we need to examine all the solutions as you can see from here. So the solution that we have chose for this case is that we decided that we will discuss with the patient, help her to understand her condition, get the family members to be involved to have support, and talk to them about the most appropriate alternative of treatment for patient if she still do not want to go for physio. And the other choices could be doing like physio once a week or as an outpatient with the patient's relative constantly to encourage the patients as an outpatient to go for physiotherapy or to do passive exercise at home. So we have chosen the solution, and our evaluation is that we continue to monitor our patient's condition and to evaluate from home visit by visiting the patients at home or refer the patients to a home nursing foundation where a nurse can visit her at home to see whether is she still healing to the physiotherapies, exercising at home, and constantly getting feedback from the patient's family on her progress.